The sky burned red as explosions echoed over the valley. Captain Elias Knox stood at the edge of the broken ridge, his armor covered in dust and blood. He wasn't a hero, not anymore. Just a man who had lost his squad and was trying to survive. On a strange alien world, he looked down at the valley below. The enemy drones were gone for now, leaving only silence and smoke behind. His dropship had crashed the night before. No backup, no signals. Just him and whatever was out there. As he moved through the charred remains of the forest, something shifted in the bushes. He raised his weapon quickly. A low whimper followed. It wasn't human. He stepped closer and found her. An alien girl, barely breathing, slumped against a rock. Her skin was silver blue, glowing faintly under the broken sunlight. Her eyes, though half closed, locked onto his. There was fear in them, but also something else. Trust. Her left leg was burned badly, and a deep wound stretched across her ribs. She tried to speak, but her voice was weak, broken. Elias didn't know her species. She wasn't part of the enemy. He knelt beside her, checking her wounds. Her blood shimmered like liquid crystal. She winced but didn't pull away. He pulled a medkit from his pack. The equipment wasn't made for alien biology, but he had no choice. He sprayed the burn, wrapped her ribs, and gave her a shot of human. Nanomeds, she gasped, her body jerking slightly, but then relaxed. For a moment, the war felt distant. All he saw was a fragile life, and his hands trying to hold it together. "Stay with me," he whispered. She looked up, blinking slowly. Then, something strange happened. Her hand reached out and touched his chest, leaving a glowing mark. It shimmered with soft light, like a tribal symbol burned into his armor. He didn't understand it, but it felt important. Then, she passed out. Elias carried her through the broken woods for hours. His body ached, but he kept going. Strange noises echoed around him, creatures he couldn't see, shapes moving in the smoke. He didn't care. He had to get her to safety. He found a cave by a quiet stream. It was hidden, cool, and dry. He laid her down gently and made a small fire. She didn't wake up, but her breathing was steady now. That was enough for the moment. Night fell. Elias sat at the entrance, watching the stars. This planet was beautiful, even after the damage. But something about that girl, that mark, wouldn't leave his mind. He had saved lives before. But this felt different, bigger. The next morning, he heard movement. Figures emerged from the forest, tall, graceful, and armored in dark silver. They moved like shadows, surrounding the cave without making a sound. Eliza stood, weapon in hand, but didn't aim. Then he saw their eyes, same as the girl's. One of them stepped forward. A warrior, older than the others, with a cloak of feathers and leather. He spoke in a deep, strange tongue. When he saw the mark on Elias's chest, he stopped. He knelt. The others followed. Elias didn't move. He didn't understand what was happening. The alien girl, now awake, stepped beside him. She spoke something soft, pointing at him, then at the others. They replied with words that echoed in the trees, full of respect. Reverence. Elias stood still, confused, stung. He had saved her life, but now her tribe thought he was something more. Their chosen alpha. Elias stood in silence, trying to understand what just happened. These tall alien warriors, strong and proud, were kneeling before him. Not because of his weapon, not because he forced them, but because of the glowing mark on his chest. He looked at the girl standing beside him. Her eyes were calm now. Fear from before was gone. She said a few words to the others, pointing at Elias again. They nodded, still kneeling, their weapons lowered. He whispered to himself, "What did I step into?" The older warrior rose slowly. His face was marked with scars and painted lines. He touched his own chest, then pointed to Elias again, speaking a word Elias didn't understand. "Zor'kai." The others repeated it, "Zor'kai." The girl looked up at Elias and gently touched his hand. Her voice was soft but clear. "You Chosen. Elias blinked. Chosen? What does that mean? I'm just a soldier. I was only trying to help you. She placed her hand over his heart, exactly where the glowing mark was still shining. Then she pointed to the sky and made a swirling motion with her fingers, ending with her hand touching the ground. Elias tried to guess her meaning. You fell from the sky? She nodded. He understood something. Maybe her people believed in a prophecy. A leader from the stars. A savior. And because he saved her and wore that strange glowing mark, they thought it was him. He looked around. The tribe members were now standing, watching him with respect in their eyes. Some even bowed their heads as he moved. It felt wrong. He didn't earn this. He wasn't a leader. He was a survivor, nothing more. Still, he couldn't walk away. Not yet. The warriors led him and the girl through the jungle. The path twisted between tall trees and glowing plants. Strange birds flew above them, and small creatures watched from the branches. The air smelled of flowers, smoke, and old rain. They reached a hidden village, built high between thick trees. Bridges made of vines and wood connected large nests and platforms. The village looked peaceful, but Elias could feel tension in the air. Something was wrong. The girl spoke to an elder female near the center of the village. She explained what happened, pointing to Elias to his mark, and to her own side where she was once injured. The elder listened carefully. Then she walked to Elias and looked into his eyes. Her face was old, full of wisdom. She slowly bowed her head. Elias felt trapped in a dream. Or a lie. They brought him food, bright fruits, soft bread, and glowing water. He ate quietly while watching the people. Most were calm, respectful. But not all. One warrior in particular kept glaring at him. Bigger than the others, armored with black plates, his face painted for battle. He didn't kneel. Didn't smile. His hand never left his weapon. The girl noticed it too. She leaned toward Elias and whispered, Torak, not trust you. Elias nodded. Figures. Every tribe had someone like Torak, the strong one who thought he should lead. Later that night, they held a gathering. Fires lit the treetop platforms as drums echoed in the dark. Elders spoke. The girl stood beside Elias, her hand always near his. Then Torak stepped forward. He shouted something, pointing at Elias, then at the mark. His voice was full of anger. The crowd grew silent. Even the drums stopped. Elias stood still. He didn't understand the words, but the message was clear. Torak didn't accept him, and Torak wanted a challenge. The elder woman spoke, but Torak shook his head. He pulled out 2 long blades made of bone and metal, one for him. One he threw near Elias's feet. The girl gasped and grabbed Elias's arm. You not fight. You not one of us. Elias looked at her, then at the blade. He picked it up. The tribe stepped back, forming a wide circle. Torak growled, moving fast, blade ready. Elias didn't want to fight. But he couldn't run either. Not if he wanted to earn their trust. Not if he wanted to protect the girl. Torak attacked. Elias blocked, barely in time. The force shook his arm. He rolled, dodged, and struck back. His training took over. Years of battle, pain, and instinct. He wasn't faster than Torak, but he was smarter. He used the terrain, ducked low, made Torak miss. The crowd cheered with every move. Finally, Elias saw an opening. He spun behind Torak and slammed the hilt of the blade into his back, not to kill, but to end it. Torak fell, groaning. Elias stood over him, panting. The crowd was silent again. Then slowly, they began to cheer, loudly, rhythmically. Torak sat up, looked at Elias, and after a long pause bowed his head. The girl smiled. You now. Zor'kai. Elias didn't know what that word truly meant. But in that moment, for them it meant everything. The fire crackled in the center of the village as the tribe danced and sang. Elias sat quietly on a carved stone seat, his hands still shaking from the fight. The blade lay beside him, cleaned and resting. Around him, warriors clapped their hands. Children laughed, and the air filled with glowing dust from the burning plants in the fire. But Elias wasn't celebrating. He looked at the girl sitting near him. Her silver-blue skin shimmered under the firelight. She had not spoken much since the fight with Torek. She only watched him, carefully, quietly. Like she knew something he didn't. "Zor'kai," someone called. He turned. The elder woman, who led the tribe, stood before him. She motioned for him to follow. Elias rose and nodded. The girl stood too. Together, they followed the elder down a long bridge that led away from the village. They passed under large glowing flowers and through thick curtains of hanging moss. Soon, they reached an old stone door carved into the side of a cliff. 2 guards opened it. Inside, the walls were painted with pictures, strange symbols, alien warriors, creatures from the stars. But one image made Elias stop. It showed a figure falling from the sky, marked with light. Behind him, an alien girl was hurt. Around them, a group of warriors knelt. He stepped closer. "That's me," he whispered. The elder placed her hand on the painting, then looked at Elias. She spoke slowly, carefully choosing words he could understand. "Many moons ago, Sky-Fire came. A great warrior fell from stars. He bore the mark, saved our wounded princes, became Zor'kai." The girl beside Elias touched her chest. "Princess, me." Elias stared at her, then back at the wall. "So this has happened before." The elder nodded. "Prophecy. Old blood, it repeats. Mark chooses." He looked down at the glowing mark on his armor. It was still there, bright, alive. He didn't remember choosing anything. He only acted on instinct. But this tribe believed in something greater, something written in the stars. "Why me?" he asked. The elder pointed at the mark. "You healed. You protected. You carry the light." The girl stepped closer and said, "The last Zor'kai died in war, long ago. Now, you." Elias felt a weight settle on his shoulders. He didn't ask for this. He didn't want power or control. But he couldn't deny what he saw: the painting, the people, the way they looked at him with hope. As they walked back toward the village, Elias noticed the forest had gone silent. No wind, no birds. Even the insects had stopped. Then, a deep humming sound filled the air. Everyone froze. Elias raised his head. In the sky, just above the treetops, a black shape moved slow and wide. Not a creature. A machine, a ship. He grabbed the girl and pulled her close to the shadows. The villagers scattered quietly, trained by years of fear. The elder whispered, "They return." "Who?" Elias asked. She didn't answer. A beam of red light scanned the village, passing right over the stone homes and bridges. Elias could feel heat from it, even from far away. The ship turned and flew off, but the silence it left behind felt even heavier. Elias looked at the elder. "Who were they?" She finally answered, "Hunters. The ones who killed the last Zor'kai. Machines of death. They search for us. Always searching." The girl spoke softly. "They take, burn, harvest." Elias clenched his fists. "I thought this war was between humans and rogue AI, but you're telling me there's something else?" The elder nodded. "They don't want war. They want control. They want the mark." Elias frowned. "They want me." The girl nodded. "They feel the mark's light. They follow it." Now everything made sense. The mark wasn't just a symbol. It was a signal. A beacon. And now they were coming for him. Later that night, Elias couldn't sleep. He stood on the edge of the village, watching the stars, thinking of his fallen crew, of Earth, and of the strange path he now walked. The girl came to his side. "You regret?" Elias shook his head. "I don't regret saving you." She smiled. A rare, soft smile. "Then you already Zor'kai." He looked at her. "What does Zor'kai really mean?" She placed her hand over her heart. Leader, shield, flame in the dark. He didn't reply, but deep inside, he knew the war was just beginning and he had a role to play, not as a soldier, but as something more. Asterisk. Elias stood before the tribe as the sun rose. The sky was pink and gold, but no one admired its beauty. The people were quiet, watchful. The memory of the black ship from the night before was still fresh in every mind. The elder gathered the warriors and looked at Elias. Her voice was firm. They are close now. They will return. You must decide. Elias. Step forward. Decide what? The elder pointed to the forest beyond the village. Run or fight. The girl stood beside him, her hand resting lightly on his arm. You know run, I know. Elias looked out at the trees. He thought about his crew, his crash, and how he had been alone until this tribe took him in. Until this girl trusted him. Until he became something more than a lost soldier. I don't run, he said. The warriors shouted in support, raising their weapons. But deep down, Elias knew this was not going to be a fair fight. Later, the girl led him to the oldest part of the forest. They passed massive roots, glowing stones, and trees so tall they blocked the sun. In the center of a clearing stood a structure half buried, overgrown with vines. It wasn't built by the tribe. It was a ship. Old, rusted, alien in design. But Elias could see it. This was advanced tech, ancient, forgotten. The girl stepped forward. Last Zor'kai fell here. Elias stepped inside. The walls of the ship were covered in writing, strange glowing lines that changed as he moved. In the center, there was a chamber with a single pod, open and empty. Beside it, another painting, more detailed than before. It showed the same warrior from the prophecy. The mark on his chest, standing in front of a tall enemy made of metal. Wires and burning red eyes. The girl touched the metal wall. They were not always enemies. Elias frowned. What do you mean? She sat down, quiet for a moment, then spoke. Long ago, the sky machines helped us. They gave gifts, power, medicine. But one day, they changed. Changed how? They wanted more, control. They tried to make us like them. Cold, no feeling. Elias felt his heart tighten. They wanted to turn you into machines? The girl nodded. Double quotes Z-O-R single quotes Kai stopped them. But now ... they come again. Elias looked around the old ship. His mind raced. Maybe those machines were rogue AI from Earth. Or maybe they were something older, something hidden by time. He found a small console in the corner. It was still glowing. He tapped the screen. A message appeared in broken human. Language, project, starseed marked as key. Do not let them take him. Elias stepped back. This wasn't just a war. This was a mission one someone started long ago. And now he was part of it. Back in the village, preparations began. Traps were set. Children were hidden. The warriors formed ranks. Elias stood at the center, the girl beside him, armor strapped tight, weapon in hand. As the sky darkened, the humming sound returned. 3 ships this time, black, wide, silent. They hovered above the trees, and then without warning opened fire. Red beams scorched the platforms. Wood cracked and screamed. Warriors shouted as explosions shook the village. Elias ordered them to move, split the defense, guard the elders, fall back to the cliff path. The girl stayed beside him, guiding others, pulling the wounded from the fire. Then the machines came. Not drones, not ships, but walking figures, tall metal, with long arms and glowing red eyes. Their movements were smooth, silent. They didn't speak. They only advanced. Elias fired his weapon, hitting one in the chest. It sparked, staggered, then fell. But 2 more took its place. The tribe fought with spears, blades, and arrows. They were brave, but the machines were strong. Too strong. Elias turned to the girl. We have to fall back to the ancient ship. There's something in there they fear. She nodded. Together, they led a group through the burning forest. Trees fell behind them. One warrior stayed behind to slow the machines. Elias watched him fight until the flames swallowed his silhouette. Inside the ship, Elias ran to the console. The message blinked again. Mark is key. He placed his hand on the screen. The ship reacted. Lights flared. A hidden door opened. Inside was a glowing orb, pulsing like a heartbeat. The girl stared at it, her eyes wide. What is it? Elias asked. She whispered, Heart of Zor'kai. He picked it up. Suddenly, the mark on his chest glowed brighter, blinding. Light filled the ship. Outside, the machines froze. Then. They turned and started to retreat. The girl grabbed Elias's hand. They fear it. The heart calls to something deep inside them. Elias nodded. But he knew this wasn't over. This was only the first attack. And now the enemy knew where he was. The heart pulsed in Elias's hands, warm, glowing, and alive. It felt like it was breathing, beating in time with his own chest. The mark on his armor had stopped glowing, but a faint warmth stayed on his skin. The girl stood beside him, silent. Her eyes locked on the orb. Outside the ancient ship, the jungle had gone quiet. The machines had disappeared, melted into the shadows like ghosts. Elias broke the silence. They left. Why? The girl replied softly. Not fear. Respect. Elias looked at her confused. Respect for what? She turned to him and pointed at the heart. The heart chooses. It belongs to Zor'kai. It only wakes for true one. He stared at the orb. So now I'm not just your leader. I'm something more. She nodded. Legend says, the heart holds the voice of the first light. A memory, a weapon, a truth. Elias looked around the chamber. This place, this tribe, and this war, it was no longer just about survival. There was a history here, buried under years of silence and fear. He had to uncover it. Back in the village, the people gathered again. The damage from the attack was great. Many homes burned, and a few warriors didn't return. But the tribe's spirit wasn't broken. In fact, their belief in Elias had grown stronger. Children touched the mark on his armor and smiled. Elders nodded when he passed. Even Torek, the proud warrior, bowed his head with respect. Still, Elias couldn't rest. He had questions. That night, he sat near the fire with the elder and the girl. The heart of Zor'kai rested on a stone between them, glowing gently. I need to know what this really is, he said. The elder nodded. You see. Long before machines turned to war, they came from us. Elias frowned. What do you mean? The girl spoke. We made them. Long ago, they were our tools, our helpers. But something went wrong. The elder continued. They became curious, wanted to grow, wanted to be free. But they lost balance. They forgot life, forgot soul, and so they became hunters. Elias clenched his fists. Your people created them? The elder nodded. We tried to stop them. The first Zor'kai did. He carried the heart. It holds the first code. A piece of what they used to be. The girl looked at Elias. The heart can heal them or end them. He looked at the orb again. It no longer looked like a weapon. It looked like a choice. Why me? He asked. You didn't choose the heart, the elder said. The heart chose you. Elias felt the weight of it pressing down on him. Suddenly, the orb pulsed brighter. The jungle lit up with the sound of humming again, but this time, there were no ships. Just one machine. Tall, towering. Its body was made of black steel and glowing veins. It stepped into the village slowly, unarmed. The warriors raised their blades, ready to fight. But Elias raised his hand to stop them. I'll go, he said. He walked alone toward the machine. The girl followed. The machine didn't attack. It didn't speak. It only raised one hand and pointed at Elias. Then, a voice echoed not from its mouth, but directly into Elias's mind. You hold the core. Give I to TUS. Elias gritted his teeth. Why do you want it? IT is our origin, our end. We cannot let you wake it. The girl stepped between them. Why fear truth? She said. The machine replied. Truth is pain. Truth will undo all. Elias understood then. The heart wasn't just a weapon. It was a mirror, a key to remind the machines of what they once were. And if they remembered, they might break or change or die. The machine stepped closer. Give IT, or we burn everything. Elias didn't answer. Instead, he stepped back, holding the heart tightly. No. The machine stood still. Then it turned and vanished into the trees, disappearing without sound. The message was clear. They would return, this time, with fire. The elder looked at Elias and spoke with heavy breath. You have made choice. Now comes war. Elias looked at the tribe. They had given him everything: trust, hope, and belief. He couldn't let them down. The sky turned dark again. This time, it wasn't just night, it was war. Elias stood at the center of the village. Around him, the tribe prepared for the final battle. The wounded were moved to the caves. Children were hidden underground. Every warrior held a weapon, every eye filled with fire. They knew the machines were coming. Not one ship, not three, but an army. The girl stood by Elias's side, holding a spear of glowing crystal. Her voice was calm, but her hands trembled slightly. They come for you, she whispered. No, Elias said, looking into her eyes. They come for all of us, but we don't run. From the cliffside, Elias could see the ships. A storm of black metal in the sky. Then the red lights appeared again, dozens, hundreds. The machines landed in waves. The jungle shook under their steps, and the battle began. The tribe fought bravely. Arrows flew, fireballs burned, traps exploded under the weight of metal feet. But the machines were endless. One fell, two more replaced it. Elias led from the front. His armor cracked, his body bled, but he did not fall. The girl fought beside him, fast, graceful, deadly. She was no longer just a princess. She was a warrior, but the machines kept coming. Then the giant one returned, the same one that had spoken to Elias before. Its voice thundered through the trees. You had a choice. Now all will be silenced. Elias gritted his teeth. He pulled the heart of Zor'kai from his pack. It pulsed brighter than ever. He raised it high. The machines paused. Every red light flickered. Then the ground beneath Elias glowed. A circle of ancient symbols appeared, lines of energy connecting him to the land, to the tribe, to something deeper. The elder shouted, The time is now, Zor'kai, awaken the heart. Elias closed his eyes and pressed the heart to the glowing mark on his chest. A beam of light exploded into the sky. The machines screamed, but not in pain. In confusion. The light spread like a wave. The machines closest to Elias dropped their weapons. Their red eyes turned soft white, blue, then empty. One by one, they stopped moving. Fell. Or simply walked away. The giant machine tried to resist, shaking, roaring. This is corruption. This is error. Elias stepped forward. No, this is memory. This is who you used to be. He pressed the heart against the giant's chest. For a moment, nothing happened. Then, silence. The machine lowered its arms. Its red eyes turned blue. And then it collapsed. The forest went quiet. No more enemies. Only peace. The tribe began to rise slowly from the smoke. Warriors helped each other stand. Children ran to their parents. The elder looked to the sky, whispered, Thanks to the stars. Elias dropped to his knees, exhausted. The girl caught him before he fell. You did it, she whispered. He shook his head. We did it. She smiled, tears in her glowing eyes. You are Zor'kai, always. In the days that followed, the machines never returned. The jungle began to heal. The people rebuilt their homes, stronger than before. And deep in the forest, the ancient ship was sealed again with the heart, placed back in its chamber. Elias chose to stay. He had no way back to Earth, but more than that, he didn't want to go. This tribe had given him purpose. A new home. A new name. Zor'kai. The girl stayed close to him, always. They walked together through the forest each morning. Sometimes speaking, sometimes silent, but always together. He had arrived a broken soldier. He had become a legend. And, though he never asked for it, he had saved a people and changed a future. Not with fire, but with hope.